Hi, in this video I'll help you get to know your car a little better. At the end of this video I've put together a straightforward infographic that summarizes all the key points. Like, subscribe and comment below. It really helps.
All right, let's talk about something I'm guessing you're dealing with right now. That frustrating little light on your Chevrolet's dashboard. In this explainer, we're going to crack the code on a very specific error and figure out what your car is trying to tell you. Let's get into Chevrolet code P1125.
Yeah, that one, the check engine light. It just kind of stares at you, right? It's your car's way of saying, hey, something's up. But instead of just telling you what it is, it speaks in these codes.
So, you did the right thing, you plugged in a code reader, and boom, P1125 pops up. I know, it looks like a random string of characters, but don't worry, we're going to translate that for you and turn it into a real plan of attack, based on the official service info.
Okay, so what is your car actually trying to say with this code? Let's decode the message and find out what's really going on under the hood. So, the fancy technical term is an accelerator pedal position system malfunction. But what does that really mean? In plain English, it means your car's computer, the brain of the whole operation, is getting some really confusing signals from your gas pedal. Something's getting lost in translation.
You know, the easiest way to wrap your head around this whole thing is to just think of it like a conversation. A very simple conversation that happens every single time you drive, between your foot and the engine.
So here is how that conversation goes. Step 1, you press the gas pedal. Easy enough. Step 2, a little translator made up of the APP sensor and the throttle actuator control module, or TAC module, turns that physical press into an electrical signal. And then step 3, the brain, aka the engine's computer, gets that signal and says, got it, give them this much power. See? Pretty straightforward when you think about it that way.
So, when you get a code P1125, it's just like having static on a phone call. That conversation we were just talking about, it's all garbled. The car's brain is hearing something unexpected from the translator, and it's throwing up a red flag to let you know.
Now that we know what's happening, we've got to figure out why. What's causing all that static on the line? Well, it usually comes down to one of three usual suspects.
9 times out of 10, that miscommunication is being caused by one of three things: a dirty connector, a faulty translator module, or some cross signals in the wiring. And the good news is, for each cause there's a specific fix.
That's the big picture. Now, let's zoom in and take a closer look at each one of these culprits so you know exactly what to look for and how to handle it.
All right, culprit number 1. And honestly, this is often the simplest one to find. It's just contamination. Over the years, a little oil, a little moisture, it can work its way into the APP sensor's connector, and, well, it just gums up the works, disrupting that clean electrical signal.
And the fix is pretty much what you'd guess. You got to get in there and carefully clean those connection points. And, just to be on the safe side, it's always recommended to replace the connector itself. That way you know you have a solid, clean link for the long haul.
Suspect number 2 is a little more serious. Remember our translator in the conversation analogy? That's the TAC module, and sometimes that component just fails. It can go bad internally and start sending out junk information, or maybe no information at all.
Now, listen, this part is critical. The source material is very clear on this one. Replacing the TAC module is not a simple DIY job. It's a delicate component, and the strong advice is to have this handled by a trained professional. You really don't want to risk causing even more problems.
And that brings us to our final culprit. It sounds really complex, signal tracking between circuits. But all that really means is you've got crossed wires. The electrical signals are supposed to be staying in their own lanes, but they're bleeding into each other. And that's creating a ton of confusion for the engine's computer.
So the solution here involves replacing the APP sensor and then cleaning the circuit. And what's really helpful is that the source material points to specific Chevrolet service bulletins, numbers 14636 and PIP 5094. Those will give you the exact, detailed, step-by-step instructions for this fix.
Okay, we have covered a lot of ground here. We defined the problem, we've identified the suspects, and we looked at the solutions. Now, let's just boil it all down to the most important takeaways.
So, if you remember just one thing from all this, make it this. When you see that P1125 code, your investigation should focus on 3 prime suspects: a dirty connection, a bad translator module, or a signal tracking issue between circuits.
By understanding what this code actually means and where to start looking, you've turned a mysterious warning light into a manageable challenge. You've gone from confusion to clarity. So the only question left is, what's your next move?